Scott Holtzman today on the program. Hot sauce, let's be called. UFC on Fox 22, December 17th. Sacramento, Josh Emmett also is up in Sacramento. It's his opponent. It's Team Alpha Male, where Josh is from. This is one of those weird fights for me. He's 10-0, which means on paper he's good. You hit that 10-0 mark, you're an excellent fighter. That already establishes an excellent fighter, even if you fought 10 tomato cans, because you've kind of put yourself in that space every time. You're 9-1. It's not like you were very far off from making 10-0. So it's like, this to me is like a fight of 10-0 guys. How do you see this fight kind of breaking down? And actually, first, take me through. Your manager calls and goes, "Hey, they want to fight Josh Emmett. Here's his stats." 'Cause I'm sure he wasn't on your radar at that point. Here's his stats. Here's what he is. Here's what he does. What was your first feeling when you're like, "Yeah, I want to take this fight"?
Yeah, I knew him. I know everybody, really. I watch all the fights. I know everybody, especially in the division. So, I knew he was a prospect and Team Alpha Male and all that. So, it's, he's newer to the UFC. So I think maybe that's why it's an odd fight. But, I was okay with it. I'm kind of at the point where like to start moving up too. So it'd have been nice to get a guy with more experience, but man, he's good. He's good. It'll be a good test. It's kind of it's a similar style matchup. He likes to move around a lot, move in and out, stuff like that. He's well rounded. So, I think definitely two prospects meeting here.
So, do you still see yourself as a prospect? I mean, even after having a 9-1 record, I mean that's kind of like once you get to your first 10 fights, that's your first professional fights. I mean, you can have 30 amateur, but then you got to get to your first 10 pro. That kind of changes the game a little bit. Like, now you've established, everyone knows now you're doing this for real. It's not a flash in the pan. You're sitting through the hard days, with the low pay of those first couple of fights and all that stuff. Like, you're dedicated. So do you really consider yourself a prospect still?
No, I guess sometimes when I think about it, it doesn't matter if you have 10 fights, 20 fights. You always feel like you're growing, you feel like you're constantly improving, things like that. So even with 10 fights, sometimes I think, oh man, I'm still new. I still have so much to learn or something like this. But, when I step back from it too, I do have 3 fights in the UFC already. That's a pretty big deal. Some guys go 2 fights and out real quick, 2 in barbecue. So,
yeah.
I'm on my second contract now. So, this is going to be a good fight for me to establish myself for sure. I think, a win here will do a lot for me.
So you get on an 8-fight win streak. You lose to Drew Dauber. You win your first fight, obviously, in the UFC. Then get Drew Dauber, draw Drew Dauber next, lose, then beat Cody Filster right after that. You're almost 5 years into the pro leagues. Like, come February of 2017, that's 5 years of you being in the pros. That's a long time. Whether you fight once a year, 4 times a year, 5 times a year, doesn't matter. That's a long time to be in there. How much growth do you still feel like you get every training camp? Do you feel like every training camp, before the fight even starts, you're like, wow, I picked up a whole new sequence of stuff I didn't realize I knew before? Like, is that what happens? Or is it just little small stuff that you kind of pick up now?
No, I think, I'm always training, man. So I don't fight and then, take a couple months off.
Right.
So, I am 5 months. I'm established. I've been doing it a while, but I feel like I grow every fight, and I get better every fight. So whether it's on the ground, wrestling, striking, but there comes a point too where you have so many tools in your arsenal. You go away from some fundamentals or some of the things that got you there, and sometimes I try to dial it back, and I work on back to my basics, my feint 1-2, for instance, or something like that. So, you continue to learn and you continue to grow, but you also sharpen up the things that got you there too, and the fundamentals, man, because those fundamentals will win you a fight at the highest level.
That's for sure. I've been seeing it a lot lately. It's the footwork and nothing flashy, nothing fancy. Like, it's just straight being quicker to the punch and quicker to the takedown has been winning these championship fights as of late. And it seems like that's the way the sport's gravitating to, going back to the fundamentals. Doesn't training camp, though, get boring a little bit when you're like, not even training camp, it's regular training where you don't have something coming up. You're like, I'm still working on my fundamentals. I'm still working on my basic footwork, and I don't have anything in the hopper. Like, I would like to work on something flashy just to get out of this rhythm. Like, do you ever feel like that before you start training camp?
I don't think so. I think because training's fun when you don't have something in the hopper. When when you have a fight, you're dialing in. You're sharpening up what whatever you're working for that fight. But when you don't have a fight, it's a little more relaxed. You can open up a little more in sparring. You're not uh, you don't have a guy firing overhands at you all the time to get ready for the next guy, or so you open up a little more. You're a little more relaxed in your training. You can, you know, instead of having to work up from the bottom the whole time in your grappling, you can practice your guard, practice your butterfly guard, practice, whatever move you've been working. So, it's a little more fun. I have a little more fun when there's no fight coming. And I think it definitely opens up your training a little bit.
So, how was it coming up with a game plan for Josh? Because it is kind of a similar style of yours. You have to look at a lot of style to kind of how to beat Josh as well, because it is similar, or is it a whole different set of game plans?
Uh, he moves quite a bit. He comes in and out. He likes to hit and not be hit. So, it's a little different than some of the guys we prepared for. But it's a fight at the end of the day. He's going to move around. He's kind of used to having the upper hand, and moving and being quicker and being able to hit some people and move and run and not be hit. So, I'm gonna put some pressure on him that guys that he's fought haven't been able to do so far, and see how he likes it.
Where do you see this fight taking you? At the end of this fight, you get let's just say you get a nice submission victory, a nice knockout victory really quickly, and then all of a sudden, now it's like, okay, where am I going to be in the hierarchy of the weight class? Where do you think this fight puts you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. People ask me about rankings all the time, and I'm never really sure because they don't rank guys outside of the top 15. So, um, I'm never really sure. I don't know how the stats add up or how people come up with these fight matrix things. I'm not sure, but um, I'm not. I have a couple guys in mind that maybe I'd like to call out after, but I'm going to save that for after.
Yeah, of course.
Um, but they're definitely above me, man, and I think they're knocking on the door to top 15, top 20. So, um, like I said, established guy now. This win will do a lot for me. So, looking to raise some hell, man, and make some noise,
Nice.
and get up there. I'm not here just to be a part of it. If I were, I'd already be done and retired. I had 3 fights. I got 2 wins. I'm doing pretty good, but it's not good enough for me. I'm gonna keep climbing.
That's Scott Holtzman. He's got Josh Emmett coming up here December 17th, UFC on Fox 22. Scott, thanks so much for taking some time with us on a Sunday. I know it's your relaxation day, and there's nothing worse than having to do a couple of
Okay.
interviews when you're trying to relax. So I appreciate the time. I really do.
No, it's all good, Frank. Thanks, man. It's good to talk to you again. I appreciate everything.
You got it, Scotty. My pleasure. And we'll definitely be talking again. Depending on how this fight goes, I might give you a holler for right after the fight as well to see how the game plan, the thought process, who you wanted to call out, and if it actually came to fruition when it was time to make those calls out or how the fight went. It's like that whole game gets played all of a sudden. You
Yeah.
get a whisper in your ear, call this guy out instead, and he wasn't. You're like, I don't want to call somebody else. It's how it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, Scott,
It's
have a
all
great rest of your
business.
weekend, man, and we'll talk soon.
All right, you too. Take care, Frank.